Wednesday, it's 8:18. Divorce is a situation that you hope never happens to your marriage, but if you have to deal with divorce, it's best that you try to end the relationship in the most positive way. Attorney Mark Chinn is joining us this morning with information on a constructive divorce. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Glad to have you back with us.
Thank you very much.
And what are the first steps people need to take when they have to deal with a divorce?
The first step that they should take is to try and hire a lawyer who's familiar with the concept of collaborative divorce or mediation. They should ask the lawyer if they're willing to pursue divorce or resolution of any other family dispute in that fashion.
Now, when you meet with clients, do you sit them down and make sure they understand what divorce entails?
I think it's the obligation of every family law attorney to certainly let people know all of their options, including litigation, but I think it's an absolute obligation of every family law lawyer to let people know that mediation is available to them to solve any dispute they have without litigation and without the expense of those things that go with litigation.
And what are those expenses? Let's talk a little bit about how it can get a little expensive if you don't go the mediation route.
Well, the typical way a divorce proceeds is each person hires their own attorney, and then oftentimes the attorneys become involved in advocating for each side, and they create a conflict. And then there is perhaps the filing of divorce litigation. Then there is a process that we call discovery, where each side asks questions, asks for documents, subpoenas documents from other entities such as banks, and pursues all of the things that go into litigation. And then there might be hearings, motions, and then ultimately a trial, which might be a year or two away from when the process starts. All of this can be avoided with a process called mediation. What we like to do in our firm is, as soon as we see that a case can be settled in this way, is to get on the phone with the other lawyer and say, can we set this case for mediation, and completely avoid all of that expense and all of that delay.
Do you find that the other lawyers will sit down with you and deal in mediation? Is that the preferred method for other attorneys as well?
Well, it's a process that came on board in Mississippi probably 10 to 15 years ago, and we find that different areas of the state have differing levels of acceptance of this process. But it involves hiring a third lawyer and setting a day aside to meet with that lawyer to negotiate and settle your case. The very positive thing about this is that across the country, 85% of family law disputes can be settled in this process, usually in one day.
Now, is mediation, does it get any more complicated if there are children involved, or is this dealing with children and property and other things?
That's a great question. A lot of people might think, well, a custody case or a custody dispute can't be settled through negotiation, that it's either one way or the other. But the exact opposite is true. Family law situations involving children, how they are cared for, those are situations which really should be in mediation, because it allows the parties to customize their parenting arrangement to their particular situation, to their work schedules, to the needs of the children, and it allows them to create something that is tailored to their situation. And there are lots of ways to look for solutions to parenting situations in mediation.
And I'm sure, and you are very experienced with mediation, and if folks want to get involved in a mediation process with you, how can they get in contact?
Well, they can certainly call our office at 366-4410. The Mississippi Supreme Court maintains a list of certified mediators, and so anyone can go on the Supreme Court website and find out who the mediators are. The interesting thing is that people can even pursue this process without lawyers and can have a mediator handle their dispute, and then perhaps, if they want, have a lawyer look at what they have agreed to after they've agreed to it to make sure that it suits their needs.
All right. Mark Chinn, thank you so much
Thank you
for this information. We appreciate it.
Always great to be here.
Great to be here as well.